Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Morgan. Today, I want to talk about an article that I've kind of been sitting on since I read it and debating whether or not we should talk about it. And this article is from Scientific American and it's entitled, "We are living in a climate emergency and we're going to say so." But I think that it's important to talk about it. This article was published on April 12th, so I've been kind of going back and forth in my head about this for a while now, but I have come to the conclusion that we need to discuss this whole climate emergency thing. So without further ado, grab your snowflake drink of choice and let's get into this. So this is kind of going to be more of an informal and more of a discussing what's going on here kind of thing. So I'm not going to read the article to you because that seems a little lazy on my part, but the big theme from this article is that we see media talk about things as emergencies when they are big and they require immediate action and they impact people's lives. So things like wildfires, things like people not being able to breathe and they need to call 911. Things like the pandemic that's still a big deal in the whole world. It's a thing that's still an emergency. But when they're discussing climate change, they don't really attach words like emergency and crisis to it. But there is a collective of media outlets that are taking the recommendation of scientists and committing to start discussing climate change as a climate emergency state that we are living in, because it is that. And I think that it's important that we do begin to discuss it like that. It's not just because I'm a bleeding heart, tree-hugging snowflake. I am all of those things, whatever. Tell me that in the comments. I really don't deny any of that. But we are living in a time where the climate is changing and it's changing much more rapidly than our ecosystems can adapt to it. And whether or not you think that's a big deal, it is, because it is going to impact everyone's lives. I do have some videos in a playlist where we've talked about different aspects of climate change. And if I remember, I will link that playlist in the description down below, alongside the article from Scientific American that I do encourage you to go read. It's fairly short, and it does also include the official press statement from the group of media outlets that have decided to refer to this as a climate emergency. I think that that is not an understatement, because we are facing something that we are not equipped to handle. We are at a tipping point. And the reason we're at this tipping point is entirely our own fault. It is through the actions of humans that we have gotten to where we are. And the fact that corporations and governments are reeling against green technology when it comes to generation of energy or agriculture or really anything is absolutely mind-boggling to me, because science moves forward. And while oil and coal were the big innovations of the past, the innovations of today are these green technologies. They're the innovations that are going to hopefully save the planet, because it's not just a few polar bears going the way of the dinosaur. Like, I don't think people realize that in the worst case scenario climate models, we're gone too. Like, we're not some end all be all godlike species. We're still part of the ecosystem, whether we realize that or not. I say it all the time, Homo sapiens are a rather narcissistic species, and I believe that fully because the evidence seems to point that way, especially the way that we're so disconnected from everything else around us. So I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that we are living in a state of climate emergency because we are living at a precipice where either we can go all in on green technology and try to at least minimize the negative impacts of our changing climate, because it's not just about getting hot, it's about seeing these massive weather patterns that are scary and abnormal, like the winter storm we saw very recently in Texas. That's part of climate change. Like the more intense hurricanes we see, like the more frequent, more intense wildfires. That's all some of the impacts of the changing climate. And I would say it is an emergency. It is negatively impacting so many people, and not just people, but the environment as well. So, do I think that this is an overreaction? No. Do I think this is the way we should be talking about it? Yeah. Because when people actually refer to things as emergencies, things get done. And perhaps if more media outlets are frank with the people that we are living in a state of climate emergency, you will see more snowflakes like me actually fucking committing to doing something. And that's what's going to be important. That's what's going to move us the way of the future. That's what's going to stop us from going the way of the dinosaur as well without the help of a fucking meteor. So I know that this has been a bit of a downer and I've gotten a little bit angry here at the end, but I do genuinely hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, afternoon, evening, what have you. Please leave your thoughts about this whole climate emergency in the in the comments down below. I am interested in reading what you have to say. If you're a troll here that probably hasn't gotten to this point in the video anyway, and you just want to call me a snowflake or a libtard, go ahead. Like, it really doesn't bother me, and I do get a certain amount of joy of either responding in a snarky way or ignoring you altogether. So I will see you all in the next one with hopefully happier content. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane V. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.